Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Off Court, this time in the studio. If you were with BK and I last night, we talked a little bit post-game following the Clippers-Nuggets game. The Nuggets were on the road, suffered a loss to the Clippers, and now we will look ahead to their Warriors game. They play the Warriors tomorrow night. BK will be at that game, delivering you guys all types of content. BK, we already had kind of our post-game live reaction show yesterday in regards to that loss to the Clippers. Anything that you were able to sleep on that you're feeling super confident about, or any strong opinions you have right now?
No, but I guess we should start where you and I were chatting just before the camera started rolling, in between as we finished up the other off-field show, getting ready for the Broncos game tonight. And you said, who do they play again tomorrow? Warriors, right? And I go, yeah, playing the Dubs. You're like, man, that game scares me. And I think that sentiment is easily shared by Nuggets fans. Yeah. But I look at it the other way. And maybe it's just because of what we've seen from Nikola Jokic in the last 4 or 5 years. He's the best basketball player on the planet. And so because of that, especially now that they're relatively healthy with Aaron Gordon coming back and should get likely a little more playing time, barring a blowout one way or the other, but he played 21 minutes. I won't be surprised. In fact, I'd expect that he starts this game after coming off the bench last night in LA. There shouldn't be any opponent on their schedule where you should say, oh, that scares me. I understand different matchups are going to be harder, but like last year, they beat the Celtics in the 2 times they played them. In Boston, they were one of the only a couple teams that won in Boston, and then obviously here in Denver. So, yeah, they laid an egg last week against the Knicks, and the Knicks came out ready to play. And your concern should just be about how the Nuggets might play a game, but not about the opponent. And I'm not trying to minimize that feeling. I'm just saying, like, yeah, the Warriors could shoot him out of the gym in no time. Steph Curry is still Steph Curry. We saw it in the Olympics. We've seen it to start the year. They're the number 3 seed in the West as it stands today. So they're a really good basketball team, and they've done a good job of mixing and matching the pieces around an aging Steph and an aging Draymond. But when you've got Nikola Jokic and a healthy team around him, not the band of misfits that you had with no Jamal and no AG a few weeks ago, there's no reason that you're not going to go into every game saying, all right, we're equipped to beat this team.
Right.
I get OKC kind of took it to him in that opener here on October 24th to get the season going, and they're vulnerable to that.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, because you hear good teams say this all the time, oh, they didn't beat us, we beat ourselves. It's not that the other teams won't go out and beat them, but other teams can't control the Nuggets' effort. So the Nuggets beat themselves with lulls in either to start a game or in the second quarter to come out at halftime, although they've been pretty good in general in recent years coming out in the third quarter. Or to close out a game, if letting your foot off the gas against the Timberwolves on that Friday night a few weeks back. Those are all on the Nuggets. That wasn't because the Timberwolves outplayed them late. I'm not trying to minimize the Timberwolves making shots. It was that the Nuggets let their foot off the gas. They're up 10, and they blew it.
Mm-hmm.
So last night's loss was frustrating because it's a winnable game. I guess all their losses are frustrating for different reasons. But no team comes in, and I'm like, oh, I'm scared if I'm a Nuggets fan that they're just going to beat us because they're a better team. I don't think there's a team in the NBA that is truly better. And we'll see them against the Cavs on Thursday in Cleveland.
Yeah.
So that'll be a good test too. But my concern with the Nuggets is about the Nuggets. It's not about their opponent.
Yeah.
And those are real concerns.
I mean, I think that they are their toughest competition right now, for sure. And I think that's what makes it so frustrating. I mean, we watched that game against the Clippers, and they lost that game at the free throw line. You know what I mean?
When they were at the free throw line.
When you've won a championship and you've kept a good amount of your starters together, those are the types of losses that are just embarrassing, and it makes the fan base start to panic, and it makes people start to question the seriousness that this season is being taken with. You know, are they serious about it? Is there a sense of urgency? You know, you've got a Jamal Murray. Nate actually brought this up on off field. You've got a Jamal Murray that had 0 rebounds last game. I mean, just an insane lack of hustle is what we're seeing right now with this team. And we talked a little bit about that last night. And I think my frustration with Jamal Murray is not because he's not playing perfect basketball. I don't expect anybody to play perfect basketball. But what I do expect is if you're not going to show up and do your job that you get paid a lot of money to do, at least let there be some, I don't know, accountability, which we have not seen much of this season. In fact, he kind of did some deflecting in the last post game, not the last one, but the one following the Knicks game that you guys already know I was highly, highly pissed off about. So not only is there a lack of accountability, but also like, okay, Jamal, you're not going to make your shots. Your threes aren't going to fall. You're not going to have a hot start in the first half. That's fine. But how about you pull an MPJ? Because during the championship run with MPJ, he wasn't shooting lights out. His threes weren't falling, but he was hustling defensively. He was getting rebounds. And we're not seeing any of that urgency and that hustle with Jamal right now. So, when you've got such stars on this roster and they're losing games that are just, there's really no reason for them to lose them. Yeah, you really kind of have to chalk it up to the fact that they are their biggest competitor right now. They're standing in their own way at this point. And, from the free throw line to lose a game to the Clippers from the free throw line is just, if that's any indication of where this season is headed, it's going to be a long one for sure.
I'm just checking out some of our comments. FU 2006 agrees that they're losing because of effort, not because the other teams are necessarily outplaying them.
There you go.
Effort's also interesting when it just comes to free throws because they went 10 of 19 at the line, which is god awful. If they go 14 of 19, that game is tied and they're playing in overtime. So you're still at 75%, which is below where you'd like to be, 74, 75%. And that still would have been good enough to tie the game. They took 15 less threes and made 8 less. So you make 1 3 and 2 free throws and you win the game by a point. So it was there for the taking, as you and I got into last night. But some of these other comments that are coming in, John Morant's back and the Grizz are on fire. So that's something to keep an eye on because the Grizz were not in the playoff conversation last year. Neither were the Rockets. Those are two teams, as well as the Spurs, that are forcing their way into the conversation. We don't love the Clippers roster, but James Harden and Norman Powell, assuming that they don't make any moves one way or the other, they'll keep them in that mix. The Lakers, while LeBron and AD are healthy with Dalton Connect, they're in the playoff mix. The Mavs aren't playing their best basketball. The Timberwolves are. The West is loaded, except for really the Jazz and the Blazers. Every team has a legitimate playoff shot right now, and that's saying something when 13 of your 15 teams are, I think, true playoff contenders. Thus, every game is going to matter. But then I think this is a little crazy from Russell Martin, who says, trade Jokic. He will never get a chance to win in Denver with the management and this roster.
He already has.
Well, he has won a championship. And
not with this exact roster, but with the management.
It reminds me of when they were saying a couple of years ago that the Angels should trade Mike Trout. I don't know if there's another Wemby coming. Odds are there's not. Drafts are different in a given year. Cooper Flagg certainly looks like an interesting player coming out of Duke. You have the best player on the planet in the prime of his career. You may not have him as long as you'd like, because like you touched on last night, he may just be sick of life in America and basketball, shut it down and go back to Serbia at the end of this contract, which I think has maybe 3 years left on it. Or this is, I'll double check that. But you're not going to be able to get back anywhere near the value of trading away the best player on the planet. So give me 3 first-round draft picks and a couple of players. None of that will equal how great not only Nikola Jokic is now, but how great of a teammate he is in making everybody around him better. So I understand the sentiment. If you want to get rid of Jamal Murray, if there was a taker, if you want to get rid of MPJ, perhaps, even Aaron Gordon, if there was a taker and the package made sense, Christian Brown, Peyton Watt, go through the rest of the roster. If there's a package that makes sense, entertain it. But salary cap is set up where you have to pay your own guys. You can't really pay other guys. You can't even pay all of your own guys. That's why Bruce Brown had to walk. That's why KCP walked. You can only pay so many of your own guys. And no other team is, like, there's not a team that's paying, even if they're further along in the luxury tax and with those now tax aprons, no one's paying 6 all-stars,
right?
Let alone 4 all-stars. So yes, your 3 guys that aren't Joker aren't all-stars, but they're extremely talented players, and you're paying them
a lot.
A lot.
Paying them a lot. And that's, I think, the frustrating part. I think on this show, I talk so much about Jamal and so much about his max contract, but really it's because I'm a lifelong fan of this team, and I know that we may have shot ourselves in the foot for not just this season but for many seasons to come because of the way in which that we paid Jamal Murray. And to me right now, he got paid and he got complacent. If I told you there's a player in the NBA who played 38 minutes of basketball and had 0 rebounds and 3 turnovers and 18 points, would you assume that he has a max contract?
No, of course not. Of course not.
I mean, and that's just it. It's that simple. And it's so funny because I will actually see some of the comments, not all of them, because I just try not to really care all that much, but I will occasionally check comments and they're like, "You're such a hater. You're such a Jamal hater." I'm literally reading his stat line. And if that makes me a hater, then clearly there's a problem. If me reading his stat line makes something inside of you feel like I'm being a hater, that should tell you everything you need to know about the season that he has had so far. If me talking about the fact that he's got 3 turnovers, 0 rebounds, and 18 points in 38 minutes of playing time makes me sound like a hater, then I'm not sure I'm the problem, because I'm simply reading what's right in front of me. I'm simply relaying what I've watched him do over the course of this season so far. So if that makes me a hater, then I don't think I am one. I actually think when Jamal is on and doing what he needs to do, he doesn't have a bigger fan than me. I want him to thrive. I have said many times, I want him to prove me wrong. I'm okay with being wrong in this industry. I'm wrong a lot. I'm okay with him proving, you know what?
Look at the Giants Cowboys.
I'm okay with being wrong, and I will admit when I'm wrong, and I am just waiting for him to prove me wrong, but we are not there yet. And again, I don't think it's a lack of skill, it's a lack of effort that we're seeing right now with this Nuggets team, and that's almost more frustrating than just not having the skill there.
Yeah,
It's there.
And I was, look, this can get a little tricky with trying to understand the salary caps, but I'm still kind of stuck on this. Right now, the Nuggets have the 8th highest payroll. The Suns are $42 million over that first apron, or negative $42 million. And you can look all this up online. You can go to Spotrac, SPOTRAC. That has it laid out. Hoops Hype has it laid out. The Nuggets currently are $5 million. So it goes $42 million that the Suns are over, 27 that the T-Wolves are over, 18 million for Boston, 17 million for Milwaukee, 10 million for the Lakers, 10 million for the Knicks, and then Miami at 9.5. But you can go through every one of those rosters without even breaking it down. We know the Suns are paying KD, Book, and inexplicably they traded for Bradley Beal. It just didn't make sense to me, that trade. It still doesn't. But they're paying those 3 guys a lot of money. Minnesota is paying Anthony Edwards. They're going to pay him even more when he gets his new deal. They're paying Rudy Gobert, and they're paying Julius Randle. Boston, we know, is paying Jason Tatum a max deal, Jalen Brunson a max deal. They just paid Derek White $30 million a year, if I'm not mistaken, if not more. And they're paying Kristaps Porzingis. But if you were to trade, let's take Jason Tatum and Joker and put him here. Would you take Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and an often banged up Kristaps Porzingis for Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray, and Michael Porter? Are you any better off? You're going to be maybe available a little more, but then KP will skew that way the other way. So yeah, and Jaylen Brown's been banged up this year, obviously, but are Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and I guess they're playing Drew Holiday too, but Jaylen Brown, Derek White, KP is, and so we can do this with every team. Milwaukee, we know they're paying Giannis, we know they're paying Dame, we know they're paying Chris Middleton, but then you get to Brook Lopez. Would you rather have Brook Lopez and Aaron Gordon? The point is the NBA rosters are constructed about the same. Lakers, LeBron, AD, Dalton Connect's a first-round draft pick. They drafted him 16th. Nuggets could have traded up to that spot if they wanted to make the moves to get there.
You want to know an angle on this that I don't know if anyone has ever talked about, but it just kind of came to my mind when you're talking about kind of the group that Nikola Jokic has around him. I'm not sure that anyone's ever touched on this perspective when it comes to the frustrations that Nuggets fans are feeling right now as they watch this Nuggets team so far this season. To me, what we're seeing, and I just said this a little bit ago, and I'm going to repeat it before I get into what I'm about to say. What we're seeing with this Nuggets team right now is a lack of effort, not a lack of skill. And to me, it is an honor to play alongside a player like Nikola Jokic. In my brain, It's like, how dare you waste his time? This dude's out there putting 40-point triple doubles on people's head. And meanwhile, we've got Jamal Murray playing 38 minutes with not a single rebound. Defensively, there's no hustle, not just from him. Defensively, the Nuggets are struggling altogether. But there's so much of this that is frustrating for me as a fan, because I'm like, we don't know how much longer Nikola Jokic is going to be playing basketball. I think Nikola Jokic could very easily be like, this has been fun. Much love to you all. Thanks for everything. I'm going to go and pursue my passion with my horses. I mean, I could see it happening. And so to me, it's like, what a waste to have such a phenomenal talent in Nikola Jokic. We're watching basketball being played like it's never been played before at the hands of Nikola Jokic. And you've got guys around him that aren't trying, that aren't giving full effort, that can't take any accountability. Like, that to me is just, it's mind-blowing. And honestly, I know that Jokic, far more cool, calm, and collected than I am, and he keeps it together for the most part. And I don't think he shows much emotion, but I would imagine we will start seeing some locker room frustrations if we don't figure out a system where Jokic is getting more help and we're not wasting the last few years of what could be his career in the NBA, because I think he knows how great he is, and he's got a beautiful growing family, and he could hang it up at any given moment. And I think if we keep seeing the players around him not giving full effort all the time, and again, when you hear the rumors rumbling preseason of Jokic wanting Russell Westbrook in Denver, it makes you think, was there already some frustration building with Jokic? And he knew that Westbrook would be the guy that shows up every game, no matter who the opponent is, no matter what the score is. You'll get Russell Westbrook either as a starter or off the bench, giving full effort 100% of the time. And maybe that's where that whole rumor came from, is because Jokic maybe is frustrated.
And I don't know who else falls into this category, because you kind of got to just keep an eye on vets at the end of their, like, how much does James Harden have left on his deal? And we know that he's a SoCal guy and wants to be in LA, so he may not want to come here. Russell Westbrook, a SoCal guy. He didn't go as well in LA at either stop as he wanted. That's why he, with $250 million in the bank, and I don't have his money in front of me, I could find that pretty quickly. He was happy to come here and play for basically the league minimum.
Mm-hmm.
That having a Nikola Jokic in his prime is going to at least keep that door open. The second Joker's done here, then people start looking at Luka, and they start looking at Jason Tatum, and they start looking at Wemby, and they start looking at these other kind of, I don't say transcendent players, but SGA guys that are your MVP candidates every year. I mean, Joker truly is transcendent. LeBron, same way. And LeBron got guys at the end of their careers. Shaq and Kobe got it with guys like Karl Malone and Gary Payton, and we could go down the list. And you'll have that opportunity if there's another Russell Westbrook, but there may not be in the next couple of years. So Joker is in year 2 of that new 5-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to make, it's $50 million on the books this year, 55 next year, 59 the year after. And then it's his option. If he wants to stick around, he'll be 32 when the deal starts and 33 in February. His birthday's in February. He'll be 30 this February. In that final year, which is 27, 28. He may be somebody that's going to honor a contract, but to think that after that, he's not playing, or that he's definitely going to play just because he's only 32, I think that's assuming a lot. I will say this, and I know how much he loves having his daughter at games. When you start having kids old enough to understand what you're doing, we've seen it in football, seen it in baseball. Guys will hang on longer, hockey too, I'm sure, so their kids can see them play and remember it. So there's a chance if his kid takes a liking to basketball as he's turning 2, turning 3, that Joker does play until he's 36, 37, 38, so that his son has memories and not just video of his dad by watching YouTube or watching whatever he's going to watch on a computer or an iPad or a phone, to see how great his dad was and understand what the trophies even mean, versus getting to go to the game and watch his dad play.
Right.
So if I'm a Nuggets fan, I'm hoping that Joker's daughter, who I want to say is right around 3 or 4, I think she's about 4, and his son, who was just born in the last couple of weeks, fall in love with basketball, because that is your best chance to keep him around beyond where maybe he wants to stay, because we know he loves the game. But if you have a lot of seasons where they are underachieving based on his greatness and what the guys around him do, then there's no guarantee that Joker is going to be around as long as basketball fans and Nuggets fans specifically would love to have him around.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, I would love to watch Nikola Jokic play basketball for the rest of my life because we're watching and witnessing greatness before our very eyes. But I think that's what makes this season so frustrating is so many of these games that we're watching the Nuggets lose, they are in their own way. They are their toughest competitor right now. And so much of it to me is not a lack of skill, but a lack of effort. And how dare you play alongside a player like Nikola Jokic and not give full effort? That is beyond me. And so, yeah, is there some truth to Nikola Jokic in the preseason wanting Russell Westbrook as a Denver Nugget? Watching the lack of effort around him sometimes, yeah, I believe it. I believe that Nikola Jokic said, get me somebody. I don't care if they're perfect. They don't need to drain threes all day long, but I need somebody who cares. And Russell Westbrook brings that. And you can see the two of them already clicking early because I think Jokic, hell, if I were Jokic and I were out for that week waiting for my baby to be delivered, I'd be sitting back watching those games going, really, guys? Come on. Please help me out. I am giving you an opportunity to drop a 40 piece or to drop a 30 piece or to do something that's worth a Sports Center clip here. And we're getting nothing. It is flat. It's like drinking a flat soda pop. I mean, honestly. So I think there was probably frustrations with Jokic. That is my assumption. I have not heard that. I have not been in the locker room to understand that. I am making a large assumption here that Nikola Jokic probably has some frustrations with the fact that if he's not dropping a 40-point triple-double, they're losing games. He can't be expected to do that every night. He certainly can't be expected to play 40-plus minutes of basketball every single night for the remainder of the season. It's just not going to be realistic. So I think we need a whole lot more effort from this team, and then I think we'll see the skill translate. I have a hard time believing that a guy like Jamal Murray, who we just saw win a championship in 2023, has fallen off that largely because of a calf injury. I refuse to believe it. I just think it's a lack of effort. 38 minutes played, and you have 0 rebounds. There were times I was sitting there watching that game last night, and I was like, he's standing there. Like this was defense. Just stand there and put your arms out. Like, come on, we got to be better. And if you don't care, just say that, please. Like at this point, you got your bag. This is how I felt. I'm not quite to that extreme yet, but this is how I felt about Ben Simmons in the beginning of all his different things. I was like, this is the laziest millionaire on the planet. Like, and then of course, he did have the back injury and the mental health stuff. So I never want to like make a mockery or a joke of that. But there were so many things with Ben that I'm like, dude, are you just here for like the bag and the pictures with your cool car and living the lifestyle? But like when it comes to the actual job you get paid for, you're not available. You're not there.
Posting on social media from his couch
right
during the playoffs. It's like, dude, you
can still
to be
there. Like
right.
You can still be with your team. And it's kind of Jamal's starting to kind of give me Ben Simmons energy. I don't like it, but that's how I'm feeling.
I'm not ready to go that far, but
he's not there yet. But it's I have
the fact that door is open is frustrating, and having the security of the newer contract. What's funny about that contract is, had Jamal been healthy enough to make an All-NBA team or make an All-Star team, he would have even more money.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that those deals set up, you are rewarded by being awarded those honors. Can we switch gears to the NBA Cup for a sec, since it's going to be an NBA Cup game? The Memphis Grizzlies, who are a very hot team playing the Mavs, I looked at the playoff standings, and so there's one wild card spot up for grabs in the West right now. Houston is 3-0, the Warriors are 3-0, and the Spurs are 2-1. So it could get tricky for the Spurs in their group. But then the Mavs, who are in the same group as the Nuggets, they play the Grizzlies tomorrow. The Nugs are 1-2, Grizzlies also 1-2, but then they get the point differential. The Mavs are plus 41. If the Grizzlies beat the Mavericks by a certain amount and the Nuggets beat the Warriors, there's a world where they could jump all the way up to the 4th spot. There's a bunch of teams in between them too, the Thunder, the Blazers, the T-Wolves, the Lakers. But the Lakers, I guess, and the T-Wolves are officially eliminated. And LeBron, fresh off raising a banner a year ago and popping champagne, says, quote, These in-season tournaments aren't that important. I don't think
Really?
these tournaments are that important.
You guys were showering yourselves in
I
champagne.
mean, $500,000 is cool. Even when you're a billionaire like LeBron, $500,000 is still a lot of money. And knowing what the $500,000, and I think he might have even given his to younger players or to
Right.
the support staff. But $500,000 is nothing to sneeze at. Like you win the All-Star game, and that number's usually been like 15 or 25 grand, which is a lot of money, a Pro Bowl. But 500 grand, even for billionaires, is still $500,000. They were acting like they had won the actual championship. And now he's like, oh, these aren't that big a deal. It's funny.
Correct. When they were winning and doing well with it, they cared a little bit more about it. And then when they weren't, it's like, yeah, who cares about these? So really quickly before we get out of here, how do you see this Warriors game shaking out?
I think they're going to come out and play hard. They know what they did Monday. They are frustrated, and they bounce back and you beat a crappy Utah team, on a young Utah team, which is not very good, on Wednesday. And then you get the extra time off, go and lose a winnable game in LA, your first trip to check out the Clippers' new joint. I think they'll bounce back with a really good effort. Doesn't mean they're going to win the game, but I think you will see a close game. So if they tighten down on defense and make life hard for Steph Curry, and Christian Brown will draw that assignment a fair amount, it could get interesting. If Draymond doesn't kick or hurt anyone, it could stay interesting. I mean, we know that Draymond has plenty of reverence for the game and for other players off the court. On the court is when he turns into an a-hole. And so you just have to be worried that he's going to do something stupid and yank Joker to the ground or wrap his arm around his legs. But
I've been saying this lately. Draymond, one of these times, is going to really seriously hurt somebody, and it's going to be a problem because the way in which he grabbed Zach Edey's leg and held him down. And then I hate when he stands up and he acts like he has no idea.
What
like,
happened?
There are we are now in an era.
There's
Draymond, I don't know if you knew this.
Blacks out.
There's literally cameras on every square inch of the arenas that you play in. Like nothing you do is going to go unnoticed. Right. And to be honest with you, you're kind of tall. You're kind of big. Like we see you. It's not like you're this itty bitty, you can slip through the cracks type of person. You're very loud with how you play and whatever. So yeah, I do. I mean, of course, like Draymond to me strikes me as the type of guy that is going to take it too far one of these days, and it better not be with my Denver Nuggets. I can tell you that right now, or I'll be pissed.
There's a chance that Draymond has so much respect for Joker, he's not going to do anything stupid anyway, and he knows what Joker's brothers are about.
No!
And so,
you guys, I will be in the tunnel waiting to go out to the court, or, you just have to be careful about the traffic. They'll tell you like, hey, pull to the side. We've got some people walking, and they try to just get you out of the way. I know you guys have all seen the Jokic brothers on social media, whatever. No, in person.
Pretty imposing.
If they were running at me full speed, I would rather be hit by a car, I think. Genuinely. They are that big, and they just have this very serious look on their face, and I would not want to cross Nikola Jokic the wrong way, because we also know that his brothers have no problem inserting themselves into people taking things too far. So if I were Draymond, I'd be very careful about the type of fouls that I'm pulling on Nikola Jokic tomorrow, because those Jokic brothers, no thank you. Bad news bears. Predictions. You think the Nuggets can get a win?
I do. I think they win by a bucket.
Okay.
Like 108, 106.
Okay. So Nuggets get a win. And BK will be at Ball Arena to give you guys all the different types of content. I will be traveling, but he will be there. And of course, when the Nuggets kind of go on this little road stretch after Tuesday, we'll keep you covered from our home studios, doing some post-game live reactions like we did the other night. We had quite a bit of you on there with us. I think like we were climbing up to 2,000. It was super late and my eyes were starting to get heavy. So we called it a night, but we will have you guys covered on all of the post games for this Nuggets team throughout the season. So make sure you're tuning in. Thank you for being here. I'm Liv Moods. That's BK. We'll have all the coverage for you tomorrow night as the Nuggets take on the Golden State Warriors at home. So tune into all things Guerrilla Sports. Give us a follow on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. We're there. And yeah, we'll see you soon.